My wife cheated on me with her boss, and now she's suing me for $250, $0 in our divorce over our family home and savings. Things took a dark turn I never saw coming. I never thought I'd find out my wife was cheating on me. That's not true. I always suspected something, but I never thought I'd catch her in the act. The moment I did, everything changed in an instant. It was like a punch to the gut, a punch I never saw coming. The weird thing is, I didn't even need to see her with another guy to know something was off. There were tiny signs, little things that, in hindsight, seemed obvious but I ignored. It all started a few months ago. My wife had always been a little bitchy when stressed, but lately she'd become downright cold. She'd snap at me over nothing, brush off my questions about her day, and spend hours on her phone. She'd come home late from work, claiming she was just catching up on work emails, but her phone was always locked, and she'd hide it whenever I got near. I didn't think much of it at first. She's been stressed at her job. She's an executive assistant at some marketing firm, and she's always been a little high-strung. But then I noticed her spending more and more time on her phone, especially late at night. One night I decided to check her messages. I know, big mistake, but I was desperate for clues. I unlocked her phone while she was in the shower, and what I saw made my stomach drop. There were texts, flirty and explicit, between her and her boss, Mark. They'd been exchanging messages for months, talking about secret meetings, late nights, and even explicit sex talk. It was clear they had been sleeping together. I couldn't believe it. My wife, who used to be so loving and caring, was cheating on me with her boss. The guy's name is Mark, mid-40s, charming, and apparently very persistent. She told me she was just working late or going to yoga classes. She lied so effortlessly I almost believed her, but the messages told a different story. I felt numb at first. My mind was racing, trying to process what I'd just seen. I confronted her that same night. I sat her down in the living room, my hands trembling, and showed her the messages. She looked at me with that fake, bitchy smile she always uses when she's trying to brush something off. "You're overreacting," she said, scoffing. "It's not what you think. Mark and I are just friends. You're paranoid." She everything, even when I pointed out the evidence. She said I was imagining things, that I was insecure, that I didn't trust her, but I knew better. I knew she was lying. I could see it in her eyes, the way she avoided eye contact, the way her voice cracked when she tried to deny it. That's when I felt the rage bubbling up inside me. How could she do this? After all these years, after everything we built, I'd been faithful, worked hard to give her a good life. And she's out there fucking her boss behind my back. I spent the next few days in a fog of disbelief. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I kept replaying the moment I found out. Every time I looked at her, I saw that fake smile, that lie she told about her friendship with Mark. It made me sick. I felt betrayed, humiliated. I'd always thought we had a good marriage, that we were in it together. Turns out she was sneaking around, hiding her affair and lying to my face. One thing that hit me hard was the money. Has always been obsessed with appearances, designer clothes, luxury vacations, the best of everything. And I was the one footing the bill. I work in finance and I make a decent living, but she's always been the one pushing for more. She'd spend money like water, buy expensive jewelry, and keep a stash of cash hidden in her closet. I never thought much about it. She's always been good at hiding her secrets. But now I realized she was planning her escape. I looked into our bank accounts and saw withdrawals, large sums taken out under her name, probably to fund her secret life. I found receipts for dinners at fancy restaurants with Mark, hotel bills from weekend getaways. The money we had saved for a house, for our future, was being spent on her affair. That realization made my blood boil. How dare she spend our family's hard-earned money on some affair? The worst part is, she's now threatening to sue me for half. The house and our savings, $250, claiming I'm trying to control her, that I'm abusive, and that she's entitled to everything. She's always been manipulative, twisting things around, making me look like the bad guy. I know she's up to something, but I wasn't going to let her get away with it. Not without a fight. So here I am in a mess I never expected. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. Do I fight her in court? Do I try to salvage what's left? Or do I just cut my losses and walk away? I never thought I'd be in this situation. I loved her, or at least I thought I did. Now I see her for what she really is, a dishonest, manipulative woman who used me for her own gain, and I'm left picking up the pieces of my shattered life. After discovering everything about and her affair with Mark, I thought I'd be able to just cut ties and move on. But it's not that simple. Every time I tried to process what I'd found, more surprises popped up, and the anger just kept building. I started digging into her finances, trying to get a clear picture of what she was up to, and that's when I realized how deep this all went. She had been squirreling away money for months, hidden accounts, secret credit cards, cash stashed in random places around the house. It was like she was preparing for a life on her own, and I was just a bystander in her plan. I found bank statements where she'd transferred thousands into offshore accounts. She'd been planning her escape for a while, and I was just too blind to see it until now. The thing that really threw me off was the way she lied about everything. She'd tell me she was working late, then come home smelling like perfume, her hair slightly disheveled. She'd brush it off, say I was imagining things. But I knew better. I caught her in so many little lies that I started questioning everything, her stories, her motives, even her feelings for me. One day, I decided to confront her again. I told her I knew about her affair, about the money she'd been hiding, about the plans she was making. Her reaction? She just laughed, a cold, bitchy laugh that sent chills down my spine. "You're nothing but a jealous fool," she spat. "Mark is the one who truly loves me. You're just a boring, predictable husband. I deserve better than this life of mediocrity." That's when I realized she'd already made her choice. She didn't care about us, about the marriage, about the life we built. She wanted out, and she was willing to destroy everything to get what she wanted. It hurt so much hearing her say that. I felt like I'd been punched in the face. I'd worked so hard for us, long hours, late nights, sacrificing so she could have her dreams. And now it was all falling apart because of her lies, her betrayal. I felt betrayed, angry, and utterly helpless. How do you fight someone who's so manipulative and cold? I also started thinking about the financial side. Was always obsessed with appearances, designer clothes, luxury vacations, the best of everything. And I was the one paying for it all. She'd spend money recklessly, knowing I cover it. But now I see that she was planning to take everything from me. She's threatening to sue me for the house and our savings, 250, claiming I'm trying to control her, that I'm abusive. It's her way of playing the victim, twisting the facts. She's always been good at that. I started to get legal advice. The lawyer told me that she's probably planning to claim she was coerced or that I was abusive to justify her actions and make her case stronger. But I know the truth. I was faithful, I provided, I loved her, and she repaid me with lies, deceit, and betrayal. I'm not going to let her walk away with everything, especially not after what she's done. The more I dug, the more I realized how much she'd been manipulating me emotionally. She'd cry, pretend to be the victim, when in reality she was the one who betrayed everything. I felt like I was living in some twisted nightmare. I wanted to confront her again, to ask her why she did it, but I knew she'd just lie again. That's who she is. She lies so effortlessly, she could be a professional actress. The hardest part is feeling so stupid for not seeing it sooner. All those signs, her secretive behavior, the late nights, the money withdrawals, they were all there, but I chose to ignore them. I wanted to believe in her, in us. Now I see that I was blind. She used me, played me, and now she's trying to take everything I worked for. I've started documenting everything, screenshots of her texts, bank statements, everything I can find. I want to be ready for the fight ahead. I know she's going to try to spin this so that she looks like the victim, but I have the truth on my side. I just wish it didn't have to come to this. I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'd have to fight for my own marriage and my money against someone I once loved. But here we are. The betrayal runs so deep I don't even recognize the woman I married anymore. After I gathered enough evidence and confronted again, things only escalated. She played the innocent victim so well, crying, shouting, claiming I was abusive and jealous. It was like watching a master manipulator at work. She even had her lawyer send me a letter threatening to sue for half the house and our savings, 250, claiming I was trying to control her, and that she deserved a fair share because I was emotionally abusive. Honestly, it made me sick. That woman had lied and cheated her way through everything, and now she was trying to turn the tables. The money part was the biggest issue. I'd been the one working, earning, providing for us. She spent everything on herself, designer clothes, vacations, nights out, while I was quietly saving for our future. And now she wanted a chunk of it all because she was unhappy or some bullshit. The day I received that legal threat, I knew I had to act fast. I hired a lawyer and we started preparing for a long, nasty fight. I wanted to protect what was mine, but I also knew that was capable of twisting everything in court. She's a pro at playing the victim. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. How could she do this? How could she betray everything we built? I felt a mixture of rage and sadness, rage for her lies and sadness for our lost marriage. Meanwhile, she kept up her act, pretending to be the wronged wife, crying about how I was controlling and abusive. She'd call me names, accuse me of being jealous, say I was paranoid. She even told friends I was physically aggressive, which is a damn lie. I never laid a finger on her, never even raised my voice. But she's so good at manipulating people, making herself look innocent. Her lawyer kept pushing her story. They claimed I was trying to keep her locked in the house, that I was emotionally abusive because I questioned her late nights and her secret phone. It was all nonsense. I just wanted honesty, and I was tired of her lies. But now it's like she's fighting to take everything I worked for, our home, our savings, everything. I started digging into her financials more. I found out she was secretly transferring money into offshore accounts, probably to hide assets. I also discovered she'd taken out loans without telling me, possibly to fund her affairs or buy herself time to escape. It was like she was planning her exit for months, and I was only just catching up. The betrayal cut deep. I'd always thought we had stability, that we shared everything. Turns out she was sneaking around behind my back, planning her new life while I was clueless. What hurt the most was realizing how much she lied to my face. She'd tell me she loved me, that she was committed, then go out and meet Mark or spend money she didn't earn. Her excuses were always the same: she was stressed, she needed space, or she was unhappy. But I see now that she was just using those words to cover her tracks. She wanted freedom, and she was willing to burn everything down to get it. I also started thinking about the emotional toll. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, replaying every conversation, every sign I missed. I felt so stupid for not seeing the signs earlier. I'd always trusted her, believed in our future. Now I just felt numb. It's like I lost a part of myself and I didn't know how to get it back. One thing I've learned is that money really does reveal a lot. The fact that she was spending our savings on her affair, on Mark, on her secret plans, it's a betrayal on a different level. I had worked so hard for those assets and she was planning to take them all. I can't let that happen. I've been saving for the day we'd buy a house, for our future. Kids, but now that future feels so uncertain. I've been feeling so many things: anger, betrayal, despair. I want to fight for what's mine, but I also want to make sure I don't lose myself in the process. I've started to distance myself emotionally, not just from her, but from the whole situation. It's the only way I can keep my sanity. I keep telling myself that I deserve better than someone who manipulates and cheats, but it doesn't make the pain any easier. Every day feels like a battle, and I'm just trying to hold it together. The legal process has dragged on longer than I expected, and every day I wake up feeling like I'm in some kind of nightmare I can't wake up from. Lawyers are relentless, pushing her version of events, painting her as the innocent victim betrayed by a jealous, controlling husband. Meanwhile, I have all my evidence ready: her secret bank accounts, the messages with Mark, receipts for the hotel stays, the offshore transfers. I want to fight her in court to show the truth, but I also realize that this isn't just about money anymore. It's about dignity. One of the worst parts is how she's trying to manipulate the situation. She's claiming I physically abused her, which is a flat-out lie. She's trying to turn friends and family against me, saying I'm violent and controlling. I haven't even raised my voice at her, never once. But she's so good at spinning stories, it's almost convincing. I've had to gather witnesses, get character references, and prepare my side of the story. It's exhausting. I hate feeling like I'm in a courtroom drama, but I know I have to fight for what's right. Her threats to sue for half the house and the savings are serious. I know she's banking on the idea that I'll give up, that I'll be worn down by the process. But I won't let her take everything I worked for. I've started consulting with a financial advisor, trying to figure out how to protect as much as I can. I've also been documenting her every move, screenshots of her texts, copies of her bank statements, her secret emails. I want to be prepared for every twist she throws my way. Meanwhile's behavior is more erratic than ever. She's been going out more, spending money like crazy, buying new clothes, and even taking out a second credit card without telling me. I found out she's been trying to hide her assets, probably to make her claim look stronger in court. That's typical of her. She's always been a master at lying and hiding her true intentions. Honestly, it's hard not to feel disgusted every time I think about her. How could she do this? How could she betray me like this after all these years? I've also been reflecting on how much I trusted her and how blind I was. I thought we had a solid marriage, that we were in it for the long haul. But now I see she was secretly planning her escape, building her new life while I was clueless. That realization is like a punch to the stomach. I trusted her with everything, my heart, my money, my future, and she used all of it to lie and cheat. I keep asking myself how I missed the signs, how I didn't see it coming. The truth is, I was too comfortable, too trusting, and now I'm paying the price. The emotional toll is staggering. I find myself questioning everything, myself, my judgment, our entire relationship. I feel angry at her, yes, but I also feel sadness. Sad that someone I loved and trusted could turn out to be so manipulative. Sad that our marriage, which I thought was strong, was actually built on lies. Sometimes I wonder if I should just walk away and forget her, but part of me still hopes for some kind of resolution, some way to reclaim what's left of our lives. One thing I've learned through all this is how fragile trust really is. I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'd have to scrutinize her every move, every dollar, every message. Money has become a symbol of her betrayal, how she used it to hide her affair, to fund her escape, to manipulate everyone around her. It's crazy how much you can learn about a person just by looking at their bank statements and text messages. Despite all of this, I'm trying to stay grounded. I've been talking to friends who've gone through similar things, reading stories and trying to keep my head clear. I know this isn't going to be easy, but I also know I have to stand my ground. I want justice, not necessarily in the legal sense, but fairness. She does get to walk away with everything she stole from me, especially not after betraying everything we had. I just wish I could turn back time and see the signs earlier, but what's done is done. Now, I just have to figure out how to move forward, no matter how dark it gets. The court hearings are looming, and I can't shake the feeling that is more determined than ever to win her battle. She's been pulling out all the stops, trying to paint me as some kind of controlling monster, claiming I've been abusive and manipulative. It's infuriating because I've never laid a finger on her, never raised my voice, never tried to control her in any way. But she's so good at spinning stories that I worry her version will sway the judge. Her legal team has been relentless. They've submitted affidavits from friends and family supporting her, claiming I was aggressive and paranoid. Meanwhile, I've gathered my own witnesses, people who can testify to my character and honesty. I've also compiled all the evidence I could find, her secret bank accounts, the messages with Mark, the receipts for the hotel stays, and the offshore transfers. I want to make sure everything is airtight because I know she's going to try to twist the facts to her advantage. The biggest fight is over the house and our savings. Claims she deserves half because she's contributed emotionally and because she's been abused. I know it's her way of trying to justify her actions and get more money out of me. But the truth is, I paid for everything. Our mortgage, the renovations, the vacations. She never contributed anything significant financially. She spent money recklessly, and now she's trying to take what's mine. I've also learned that she's been trying to hide assets even more aggressively. I found out she transferred money into offshore accounts under fake names, probably to make the division harder. She's taken out loans without telling me, and I suspect she's planning to claim those as her own. It's disgusting how manipulative she's been, thinking only of herself, not the marriage or our future. Her threats to sue me for $250, $0 over the family home and savings are still hanging over my head. I can't let her win that easily. I've hired a good lawyer who's experienced in these cases, and we're preparing for the worst. I want her to understand that I won't be played like a fool. I'm determined to fight for what's rightfully mine, even if it means going through a long, draining court battle. Emotionally, I've been trying to stay strong, but it's tough. Every day I wake up feeling like I've been punched in the stomach. I see her in my mind, her fake smile, the way she lied about everything, the way she manipulated everyone around her. I feel betrayed, angry, and exhausted. Sometimes I think about just walking away from it all, leaving her to her lies, but I know that's not the right thing. I need to stand my ground for myself and for the truth. One thing I've realized is how much I underestimated her. I always thought she was ambitious and driven, but now I see she was just manipulative and selfish. She used her charm to hide her real intentions. I trusted her with my life, my money, my future, and all she wanted was to take what she could and leave me in the dust. The hardest part is accepting that I might not get everything back. No matter what happens in court, I know I'll be by this. But I also know I have to move forward, even if it's one step at a time. I've started seeing a therapist to help me process everything: anger, betrayal, grief. It's been a rough ride, but I'm trying to hold on to hope that someday I'll find peace again. I guess if there's one thing I want to tell anyone reading this, it's that trust is fragile and betrayal cuts deeper than you can imagine. Be careful who you trust and don't ignore the warning signs, because sometimes the people closest to you are capable of the worst. I never thought I'd be living through something like this, but now I understand that life can throw curveballs when you least expect them. All I can do now is fight for myself and hope that someday I'll come out stronger on the other side. The court date finally arrived, and I felt like I was walking into a battlefield. Was there, looking smug and confident, trying to play the victim. Her lawyer was aggressive, throwing accusations left and right, trying to paint me as some kind of controlling, abusive husband. But I was prepared. I had everything. Laid out screenshots, bank statements, witnesses ready to testify. I refused to let her manipulate the truth. The judge listened carefully as I presented my case. I explained how I'd lied, cheated, and manipulated her way through our marriage. I showed the evidence of her affair with Mark, the secret accounts, the offshore transfers, and her attempts to hide assets. I could see her face tighten when I revealed the extent of her betrayal. Her lawyer tried to object, but the judge was focused. I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe justice was finally going to be served. Side argued that she deserved half the assets because she was contributing emotionally and because I was abusive. I shook my head internally. It was ridiculous. I hadn't laid a finger on her, and her contribution was nothing but manipulation. I explained how I worked tirelessly to provide for us, how I'd sacrificed my own happiness to give her a comfortable life. I pointed out her reckless spending, her secret accounts, her plans to leave me high and dry. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor. She awarded me full ownership of the house, and I kept most of the savings. Was furious, shrieking and crying, claiming I was cheating her out of her rights, but the judge was clear. The evidence proved her lies and deception. She had no leg to stand on. The judge ordered her to pay me a settlement which she begrudgingly agreed to, knowing she'd lost the fight. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Moved out within days, leaving behind her lies, her manipulations, and the wreckage of what used to be our life together. I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Relief because I finally saw justice done, but emptiness because I'd lost so much trust, love, years of my life. I realized that I'd been blinded by hope, by the belief that she was the woman I loved. But I also learned that sometimes the only way to survive is to stand firm, face the storm, and come out the other side. I've spent the last few weeks trying to pick up the pieces. I've been focusing on myself, therapy, reconnecting with friends, rediscovering hobbies I'd set aside. It's not easy, and I still have days where I feel overwhelmed, but I know I'm better off without her. I've learned That trust, once broken, is almost impossible to repair, and that honesty and loyalty are everything in a relationship. Looking back, I wish I'd seen the signs sooner. I wish I'd paid more attention to the little things, her secretive texts, the money she was hiding, the late nights. But I also realize that I can't change the past. All I can do is move forward, smarter and more cautious. I want to find someone who truly values honesty, loyalty, and respect. This whole experience has taught me a lot about human nature, about betrayal, manipulation, and resilience. I've learned that no matter how deep the pain, time and truth will eventually heal the wounds. And above all, I've learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I may have lost my marriage, but I haven't lost myself. And that's what matters most. So, if there's one thing I want to leave here, it's this: trust your instincts. Don't ignore the red flags. And never let anyone, no matter how charming or convincing, take away your peace of mind or your dignity. Life's too short for lies and betrayal. I've come out on the other side battered but wiser, and I'm finally ready to rebuild.